What up, everybody? Welcome back to Rich Talk. I'm your host, It's RichZ, and today I'll be talking to Pigeon John. He's calling from LA, right? You said LA?
Yes, yes, indeed.
Uh,
What's going on?
Chillin', man. What's up? Talk to me. For anyone who doesn't know who you are, if you could just like give a little background information on yourself.
Yeah, heck yeah. Name's Pigeon John from LA, California. A part of a crew called LA Symphony. Started like in the late '90s with different groups and stuff underground, and been affiliated with Quantum Projects, and got to tour with DJ Shadow and work with Black Alicious and Lyrics Born and a bunch of other talented MCs and producers. So it's just like a product of the underground hip hop. Yeah, that's who I am.
That's super dope. So you said you've been doing this for like 20 years now, right? So then
Yeah,
you've seen a
man.
lot of evolution of like the music, and so how have you been able to navigate all the changes, like getting your music out there, remaining relevant, things like that through such a long time period?
Man, I think like if it all comes down to it, working with other people, like that's what helps me stay relevant, keeps my ears out to what's happening, but also learning from other artists and working with other artists of all ages and styles and stuff kind
Yeah.
of keeps me on my game because it's like the collaborative effect and stuff.
Yeah, no, I feel you. That makes sense. Especially you have to like you said, connect with the younger people because usually they got
Yeah,
more
and
thumbs on it.
and even like when I was younger and going to open mics and stuff, it's kind of that same situation, and is going into the good life for the open mics and showcasing what you have, but most of the time you're absorbing what they have. You
Yeah,
know, as a listener, and whether you're in the cipher or whatever, it's just you gotta stay. It keeps you in the body if you're flowing with the blood. You know.
yeah, I feel that. So like,
Yeah, I love it.
so then like through this time period, so then like, what's been one of the positive changes you've seen, or one of your favorite changes from like when you first started music to today?
Oh man, the rise of independent hip hop, man.
Mm.
I would say all of if you consider Drake independent, technically, it's almost the majority of hip hop is independent based, and that whole thing was like very far fetched when I was coming up. You needed a record deal, you needed a studio, you needed a whole lot of people. And now the whole industry, even the film industry, is in the hands of the people.
Yeah, no,
You know what I
absolutely.
mean? Every aspect, whether it be shooting videos, you don't need a label to do that. Distribution, you don't need a label to do that. So it's a real revolution in my mind. How I got to start like making demos on tape and paying for studio time, all the way to like working with the artist in Europe online. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think
It's crazy.
and like you said, with like the revolution and technology, it becomes easier. I think I saw like an image on like your Instagram, like you had like a little portable like studio, it's like a little bag with a microphone, a mixer in it. So like,
Yes.
so changes like that where now I got like you go anywhere and record like that.
hmm Yeah, man. I mean, imagine if the Beatles had this technology
Oh my god.
that they didn't need producers or studios. What kind of music would they make? And then that what kind of music would we make sampling them? It's like I think it's like the wild wild west, but in a positive way in the industry right now.
Nah, I agree.
It's crazy.
Is there anything that like you would bring back that kind of went away? So we said something positive.
You know what? I think that things go in cycles. And I think that the kids are, even though the studios and all this stuff, I think like going back to the analog is a big deal. And I think even producers, whether you're 16 to 66, you're emulating analog, you know? So I think the kids of the day are getting hip to getting almost offline and going back to tape and going back to like the old school studio ness of it, where I don't know, you just had to get everything done that day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the industry is kind of that resurgence, whether that be plugins or anything, it's kind of really cool because now, like bringing up the Beatles, now everybody can record at Abbey Road technically, you know. So it's really crazy.
Yeah. That's I just wanted to ask you because I know you've been doing it for so long, so I'm sure you have like a unique perspective.
Yeah.
So and then but you did just drop a new song, right? Yesterday, got a Good Feelin.
Yeah. Just came out yesterday. Yeah, man. Excited about it. And heck yeah.
And
gonna be doing some touring in April and promoting the album and stuff. Yeah.
That's super dope. And I saw that you actually self-produced the track, right?
Yes. Yeah, I produce as well and co-produce as well as just hop on tracks as well. So I do it all.
Do you like prefer to produce your own tracks? Do you like someone else? Is like how do you decide which songs of yours you're gonna produce yourself and when you're gonna like, go to someone?
Oh man, I think like in seasons there'll be like a season where I'm just doing it all myself, and then there will be like a 3-month season where I'm just working with other artists. And I think it's good for me to stay connected doing that. Keep the muscles working as far as doing my own solo songs, producing it myself, as well as being open to work with a different producer with a different take as an MC. So it's really cool. It's like you can be the pitcher as well as the dude who catches the ball.
Catcher?
The catcher. Fool, I don't follow sports, fool. Just I'm trying to draw sports analogies.
But you open it up. That's funny as hell.
Yeah, you know what I mean though. It's like you get to as a working alone. Like nowadays, like recording yourself alone is like unheard of back in the day. That's like just started. So I find myself recording differently around other people as well. So it's cool to do both. It kind of keeps the juices flowing.
That's super dope. And like when you were going into this track, were you just playing around? Did you have an idea coming into this song? Like how did this songs come together?
Oh man, it came together very easy. It started with sampling the old piano and keeping the chords like pretty simple and straightforward, and the hook just popped out of the music really, and we wanted to kind of keep it in that vein, and the verses just flowing with the beat, and just letting it go, just letting it happen. Got to work with Campfire, and we recorded in LA, and the day of, I just walked to the studio and I had this piano loop, and we just all sat and just vibed and walked out with the gym.
Yeah, it's very like up tempo. It seemed like it's like happy. The song sounds just happy. Like
yes, yeah.
I was just listening to it, kind of like just like a good spirited song. You know what I'm saying? So I thought that was really dope. And then you also had dropped a couple other singles, right? Like They Don't Like Me, them. They Don't Make Them Like Me, which was, we'll get into that, and then Running It Now.
Yes.
And these are all going to be part of the upcoming album you got coming out in March, also called Got a Good Feelin.
Yes, yep. It comes out in late March, early April. And 3 songs out right now, available.
On all platforms?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, all platforms and stuff. Yeah, man. And, dropping a video next week. Oh, I got the next video or single is going to be called G Shit, and it's produced by LAJ, who produced some Far Side stuff back in the day.
Okay.
So I got to work with him on a bunch of songs, and we were just releasing one on this album. But it was so dope to work with the producer of that generation, and that video and single should be coming out. Our video should be coming out next month.
That's dope. And I want to ask you. I saw all the cover art is like very colorful, like popping out at you. Like, did you have a certain theme? I mean, well, the theme looks like it's the colors, but like, what made you decide to run with that? Like, what was the process behind creating?
It was a feeling of like wanting to almost let the song speak for itself a little bit, and back away from being on the artwork so much, and almost let it making the song and the album artwork almost like if a first time listener runs into it, they wouldn't know what the heck this is. What is this? But I think nowadays everything is like that. It's a very surreal. You can just put a shoe on the cover and it can be a punk rock single. Who knows? But you know what I mean? So this one, I've actually been on a whole bunch of my covers and stuff. So this one I wanted just my art buddies to kind of listen to the music and kind of see what they come up with. And they kind of came up with this wild interpretation of the music, and I was like, this is perfect. I love it. And I'm a huge fan of De La Soul and stuff, so the earlier artworks and stuff was very like, to put a daisy on the cover of a hip hop album in the late 80s would have got you killed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was a different time. But I think like that's just my flow is like is just of this time, just to back away, let the artist and the music speak, and then kind of see how that does, you know what I'm saying? Versus like me on the cover smoking a cigarette with my pants off, it would be a different vibe.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
And I thought it was dope too. Like, I don't know if it was done purposely, probably was, but even like the color of the hands kind of point you to the next track. Like Running It Now had like a yellow hand, then the next cover art was yellow, then blue to blue, but now this last track was back to the purple. So I'm wondering if it just like wraps back around. You know what I'm saying? Like a circle of those 3 singles.
Yeah, man. Yeah. We're loving just keeping it simple and stuff on this one, and it's so cool to be able to release the songs right then and there, and then straight to the listeners, and without any labels or anything involved like that. So it's really cool.
That's super dope. And obviously, They Don't Make Them Like Me No More was the song chosen for the Motorola Razr revamp commercials.
Oh yes, yeah, man.
So how did that come along?
Man, we made a bunch of these songs, and then our managers and stuff kind of show the songs around sometimes, and Motorola got wind of the tune, and I think it was like they were looking at like a bunch of songs, and this song kind of fit what they were doing, and I got a chance to meet the director of the commercial and the young lady who picked the song, because they'll try like hundreds of songs till it the one fits and stuff. So yeah, we got wind that Motorola was interested, and we were like, oh shoot, that'd be crazy. And then a couple months later they confirmed, and yeah, we just hopped on board. Yeah,
and the song, like all the comments, and even if you just think about the song, completely just matched the commercial, like because the Razr bringing it back, They Don't Make Them Like Me No More,
right?
Like, so I got what you want, because obviously they're trying to say, hey, this is the phone with everything you need. So like it literally matched up. The tempo is like super dope, super fun.
Yeah,
I just thought it was dope to have the opportunity for you.
Yeah, heck yeah, it was cool. We got to do like a show in downtown, me and DJ Hydro, for when they released the phone, it's like a corporate gig in downtown.
Mm-hmm.
And it was cool. It was dope to perform that song, and Diplo was there spinning a cool set. So it's cool. It's cool so far. Looking forward to doing it live on tour and stuff.
Yeah, it's gonna be dope. So I gotta ask, do you use the Motorola Razr? Did they give you one? Like, what's up?
It's on the way. It's just being released this month.
Oh, okay.
So, I did put my request in.
You gotta be one of the first ones.
Oh yeah, man. Oh man, I can't wait.
And you said you're going on.
It's a trip.
And you said you're going on tour, right? So.
Yeah, man. And the crazy thing, the last record I did, Good Sinner, our album, I purposely kind of didn't want to do on tour, because I was having some young babies at the time, and I had been on tour since I started. I never stopped. Like I had other artists saying, "Yo, John, you need to stay at home for a while." But I think like I wanted to see how that record did just by me kind of releasing the music and promoting it online, and it did pretty well. So this time I get to do that as well as shooting the tour in America and Europe. So hoping that works out, man. Hoping to get to the East Coast. That'd be dope.
Yeah, that would be super dope. I'm out here in Jersey, so let me know if you come out this way. So then I'm assuming you don't have the locations yet. It's still being planned.
What'd you say?
Do you have the locations? I know you said Europe and US, but do you have
Oh yeah. We got some location. I thought you said I'm traveling in a private jet.
Oh.
Yeah, I got some. So far, it's some European dates, Amsterdam and Berlin, and shooting for East Coast and definite West Coast tours.
That's dope.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah, yeah, man. Oh, last New York City show I got to play was with Tanya Morgan.
Okay.
Out of Brooklyn, in a dope venue and stuff like that. But yo, I was hanging out in Brooklyn, and I get too hyped sometimes. I'm from LA, so I got pretty wasted, and then went to the show. Pretty much, I just wasn't in the zone. So I definitely want to go back to New York and make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, besides LA, it's the hub, you know.
Yes, yes, indeed, man. You know it. I'm always learning from the East. You guys created it, so we gotta collab.
Yeah, so but
that's the big collab right there.
No, that's the super collab. And then as you were speaking about other artists, I noticed you have your own playlist too, right? Now spinning, like you got like Joe Dilla, Beastie Boys, French. So like, how do you choose the music that you place on your own playlist?
Oh man, it's kind of like digging in my own crates. I kind of look at my whole like CD collection or the music on the computer, and then I just kind of go. I start with the first track and then see where the end of the track. Usually, a song will pop up like, oh shoot, the beginning of that song would sound good after this, and I just go song at a song, kind of like building a bridge, like little by little and stuff until you get to the very end. But yeah, I'm a huge Dilla fan, obviously, and a huge rock and roll fan. So yeah, I just threw it all together. Yeah. If I had more time, I'd throw in some Wham. But that's the next mixtape.
So you're treating them as mixtapes?
Yeah, man. I want to do a little playlist, like 30 minutes long here and there and stuff like that. But yeah, I got to talk to these guys at Station Head, and it's kind of like a community radio where you can kind of do that, but you know, in a bigger realm. So who knows?
Yeah, no, Station Head's really dope. I think it started like last year. They've grown like a lot. They've gotten pretty big, yeah. So I think actually one of the, you know, major investors or major people part of it I know about, I believe, is Raekwon.
No way.
Yeah.
That is so fresh, man. That's dope.
Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of like I said, like I mentioned earlier, how the whole industry is kind of in the hands of the people. It's the same. It's with this new form of radio, it's like it can grow and almost take over the big airwaves, you know. But it's real cool that everyone can be a part of something nowadays and not have to have like what do they used to call the door handlers or the gatekeepers. Exactly. No more. You know, now you can just make it. Now it's in our hands, and it's kind of scary sometimes. It's like, oh shoot, well, I got to be Russell Simmons myself, dog.
Yeah.
But it's fun though.
Yeah, it is super dope. And doing it so long, do you have younger artists that come up to you, maybe for like a mentorship or advice? Like, and how do you treat those situations, or what kind of advice do you give them?
Oh man, I just went to the Cobalt party a couple days ago and got to meet a young artist by the name of Mondo the Moonrock, and he was on some like underground metal hip hop, like very dark emotional hip hop. He was on tour and stuff. So I usually with anything new like that, I give everything I have, because it's like I was that kid 20 years ago. You know what I mean? So any advice or anything, I just lay it out. I'm all ears, what they have to mention and stuff, and a lot of times I get to learn what's going on, as well as kind of point them in the right direction or give them some help, you know, because to be honest, man, if dudes like Freedom of Soul or Soup the Chemist, if they didn't help us when we were teenagers, they pretty much opened their music studio in Huntington Beach. If they didn't do that, bro, it would have never happened. You know, because it's almost like your mom giving you a quarter of $1,000,000 at 18. You know, it sets you up. So I think like I because of the older generation, for me, how they helped us, I want to do the same if I can, in any way I can,
No, absolutely. And is there any like younger artists out right now that you listen to, or are part of this new generation of music?
Man, I would say Lil Uzi Vert is very interesting, and a bunch of that like L.A. super underground hip hop is crazy right now. I get to see it. Project Bloat anniversaries. Man, it's just endless. It's endless. I take it a song at a time. And my friend hit me to this other pop dude named Zeke. I just heard his song yesterday, and it kind of has that nerd vibe, that NRED kind of thing.
Yeah, Pharrell
going on. But yeah, dude, I love keeping my ears open, and that's what I'm listening to right now is probably Zeke and a bunch of others.
Yeah, and going back to your album, what was like your creative like process going through it and deciding what songs will be on it, who will be on it, producing it? So like when you decided to make the album, like what was your train of thought like going into this?
My train of thought was definitely working with my friends LD on the cut and LHA, and working with Campfire as well. I wanted to team the up-tempo tracks that I have with the opposite vibe on the same album. So those songs are going to be coming out next month, starting with G Shit. And yeah, man, I'm excited to do it all. I think like growing up, one of my favorite groups were the Jungle Brothers.
Okay.
And their story, how their first two records were classic, and then they were the first ones to do house music. And as a kid back in the late '80s, if you did a house track, and they were the first to do it, it literally caused a riot because you got angry. Like, what is this? You'd be like, what is this going on? You wouldn't know if it was hip hop or not. So I think like them being my example, I've always kind of approached it like just follow your own zone, trust that it's just one seed in a big old field, and just kind of being yourself ultimately. So I want to just, with any of the young artists, that's my first thing is everything is in your hands. This is pretty much like heaven on earth right now. And you just like go where you like to go, but it's totally in your hands now. So it's pretty crazy. It's like imagine if you grew up being a skater, but there was no such thing as being a pro skater. Yeah. It would change the whole game. What is cool, what's hot, who's creating the tricks, who's getting press, quote unquote, it would change the whole game. So I think like music wise, it's the Wild Wild West. So monetarily wise, it's the Wild Wild West too, So it's really cool.
Yeah, it's just like a lot of freedom. Like you said, everything's in the power to do your hands. And like you said, back in the day, like you needed studios, you needed all this equipment. Like with this iPhone or whatever phone you got in your hand, you could be a videographer, a musician, a photographer, literally whatever you want to be with just this one tool.
It's crazy. It's really crazy. So, and it's crazy because I couldn't even tell you what's next. I can't. If someone said, "Yo, what's coming up next?" I'll be like, "I have no idea, bro." Like it's like, I'll see next year. You know what I mean?
But do you find any struggle in keeping up with the technology and keeping up with like TikTok, and now the Vine 2 called Byte just dropped, and it's like all these platforms are just dropping, and artists got to find a way to get on them and reach the audiences, the younger audiences. Sometimes they feel like they have to reach, or do you not necessarily feel like you need to reach them because you have your core audience? So how do you just keep up with like just the continuing shift in the technology and the platforms?
Well, I try to do it like try to stay open and try not to stay tight, and also be always learning things is the best. Whether it be a new DAW, a beat machine, or an app to promote yourself, or do your own thing. And I think just stay open door. A lot of times my friends tell me, they're like, "Yo, you know about TikTok?" And I'm like, "No, I don't." And then they're like, "Okay." So that I guess that once again is just kind of like hip hop is like it includes everyone. So we got to keep our ears to the older, we got to keep our ears to the younger, and then we'll be good, pretty much. Because think about this, man. Without DJ Cool, Red Alert, there would be no native tongues, because he was the uncle of Mike G of the Jungle Brothers. Jungle Brothers put A Tribe Called Quest on. A Tribe Called Quest put Jay Dilla on, so forth and so forth. And that's from one dude. One guy put on native tongue. So I think like us like passing the ball is like getting the ball. It's equal. What you give is what you shall receive, you know? So I think like it's cool. I get to receive from the what's going on in hip hop, and then if asked or any pointers, I get to give.
Yeah, no, it is dope. And like you said, like the most beautiful thing is that like you could drop a song today and you're heard in countries across the world in a matter of seconds.
Yeah, man. That's just like, that's really crazy.
All right, Pigeon John, I appreciate having you on here. Like again, where can people find you? What are your handles, your social media?
Heck yeah. Well, on IG, it's Pigeon John, PigeonJohn. And then PigeonJohn.com is the website. And Facebook, I think, is Pigeon John too. And then my punk rock group is called Ronald Reagan. Just playing. No, just everything Pigeon John. It's right there, man. So it's a trip. And just one last note, man, just the Project Bloat anniversary was 25 years ago. And just to be able to see the G's like Freestyle Fellowship, Abstract Rude, and still have like the youth come out to that thing is just like proof that hip hop is very alive and well. You know what I'm saying? I think that we're all kind of living it. It's crazy.
No, yeah, it's a beautiful thing. And again, Pigeon John, he got his album coming out in March. Got a Good Feelin. Just dropped a single also called Got a Good Feelin. And if you don't hear him on Spotify, you probably will hear him on a commercial, because that Motorola Razr commercial is gonna be everywhere. It's a big deal. So just once again, I appreciate you coming on the show. This is Rich
pleasure.
Talk. It's gonna be uploaded on YouTube. So once all that's everywhere it needs to be, I'll definitely shoot you a text, saying so we stay coordinated. So
word up, man. Shouts out to New Jersey.
We appreciate you. So thank you everybody for tuning in. Definitely hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications so you always know when the new uploads are there, and you don't miss any dope interviews like this one with Pigeon John from LA. Got a Good Feelin. I appreciate you.